Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. In this video, I'm going to discuss two green flags for Palantir stock and one red flag. So let's begin. Starting with the green flag, what I have pulled up here is Palantir's latest 10K financial statement, and I've highlighted something that I think is a huge green flag for Palantir stock. So it's the speed with which our platforms can be deployed has significantly expanded the range of potential customers with which we plan on partnering with over the long term. We anticipate that our reach among an increasingly broad set of customers in both the commercial and government sectors will accelerate moving forward. Accelerate. Now that's big news for Palantir stock. If you've been following Palantir stock, you know one of the harder things for Palantir to do has been to add new customers. The company's services are arguably best in class. They're really, really good, but at the same time, they're really, really expensive. So it's been hard for Palantir to add new customers just because it's so expensive for customers to buy its products and services. You can see that with Palantir's customer totals in as of December 31st, 2022. Palantir only had 367 customers. Just 367 customers. That's a relatively small amount of customers when you're thinking about the hundreds of millions in revenue that the company generates and the billion in the over billions of dollars in valuation the company boasts. Now, it did increase from 237 customers at the same point the year prior, so it is increasing customers. But if you look at the if you look at percentage, you might say, oh, Palantir stock increased its customers by over 50% year over year. And you think about, man, 50% growth is really good. And yes, that's true. That is really good. But then you can also look at it in actual numbers, right? Um, they only added 130 customers in an entire year. 130 customers all year. So less than one customer per day or one customer every 3 days. So if you look at it in actual numbers, it might not, it doesn't look so good. But if you look at percentage, it looks really good. But the key here is that now Palantir is saying that it's going to accelerate the customer growth moving forward. So this is really big. This is a huge green flag for Palantir stock and Palantir stock investors. If Palantir can really demonstrate that it is accelerating customer growth, that could be a big deal because each customer pays is so valuable to Palantir because they charge so much for their services. So if they can add customers at an accelerating rate, man, that could be the catalyst that could 5x the stock over the next 5 or 10 years or something like that. So that could be really big. That's why I've highlighted it as one green flag for Palantir stock. The second green flag for Palantir stock is more short term in nature compared to the first green flag. The first green flag, if Palantir stock can implement and execute and deliver on that, that's a long term benefit that could boost Palantir's profits and uh, revenues longer term. This second green flag is shorter term, which is interest income. So interest income increased by 18.7 million in 2022 compared to 2021 due to an increase in interest rates, right? We've all been aware that, well, I shouldn't say we've all been aware, but if the Federal Reserve has been increasing interest rates aggressively in the last year and a half. And so that's allowed companies like Palantir to earn higher interest rates on their cash balances. And so that created a big boost. So in 2022, Palantir earned 20.3 million in interest income compared to just 1.607 million in interest income in the year before. So a near, 15x growth in interest income, and $20 million is not something that should be ignored, right? That's a lot of money, especially considering that this is all profit. This isn't like 20 million in revenue is not 20 million in profits. It's 20 million in revenue, and then you have a bunch of costs that are associated with that revenue. So out of that 20 million in revenue, you may generate, a tiny portion of that as profit, especially in Palantir's case where they're not a profitable company just yet. Now they're going to be, according to management, they're going to be profitable in 2023, but up until this point they haven't been. But this 20 million in interest income, that's profit. There is no cost of goods sold associated with getting money from your cash balances. So this is a big green, this is a green flag for Palantir in 2023 because they've got, as of December 31st, they had $2.6 billion of cash on hand. $2.6 billion of cash. So if you look at it in 2022, they only earned 20 million in interest income, which suggests around a 1% interest rate on that 2.6 billion in cash. But in 2023, interest rates are going to be significantly higher. Significantly higher. So Palantir could, if it manages these cash balances efficiently, putting it in, making sure they put it in short-term government bonds or short-term government securities that right now are yielding in excess of 4.5%, close to 5%. So if they can get, let's say, 5% on this 2.6 billion in cash, that's over 100 million in interest income for the year. Over 100 million in interest income for the year, about 130 million to be more precise, if they get 5% on this 2.6 billion. So that could increase this 20 million of interest income to 130 million in interest income, which would be an increase of 110 million straight to the bottom line, almost straight to the bottom line. Well, you got to pay taxes on it, but it's profit, right? There isn't cost of goods sold associated with that interest income. That's why I say it could be a nice green flag for Palantir stock in 2023. This is more short term in nature because it's completely dependent on interest rates. If Federal Reserve officials decrease interest rates in the second part of the year or in 2024, Palantir cannot benefit from as high a level of interest rates as they can in 2023. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now. Okay, and then finally, my one red flag for Palantir stock is this right here. I've highlighted it in red because it's a red flag. So our deferred revenue and deferred revenue non-current as of December 31st were 183 million and 10 million respectively. That's compared to the same figure in the year before, which was 227 million and 40 million respectively. So if you're not aware, deferred revenue is how companies record contracts that have not yet been delivered. For instance, let's say you subscribe to a magazine subscription that is, once per month for the whole year. And let's say you're paying $12 for that subscription, $1 per month, $12 for the year. Let's say you pay up front $12. So that magazine company is going to book that sale as $12 in deferred revenue, because it's not yet revenue. When they send you that first magazine, that first subscription, they're going to record $1 in revenue. And then in the next month, when they send you that second subscription, they're going to record another $1 in revenue, and that's going to come down from deferred revenue. So every month that goes on and every subscription that they send you, they're going to deduct from deferred revenue and record as revenue. But the initial contract, they can't record as revenue just yet until they fulfill that obligation. That's what this is here for Palantir stock. This deferred revenue is contracts that they've signed with clients that they haven't yet performed. So once they perform it, it decreases from deferred revenue and it gets recorded as actual revenue. So what we're seeing here, the reason why this is a red flag is that Palantir has been recording, it's been recording this revenue as it's performing these obligations, but it hasn't been replacing it with new contracts. So it's depleting its reserves of deferred revenue and recording them as revenue, recording them as sales, but it hasn't been generating new contracts. It hasn't been generating new sales to build back up this deferred revenue. And that could be a red flag for Palantir stock if it doesn't replenish and increase these contracts, if it doesn't close on sales and get customers to agree and really sign that contract, pay Palantir, and let Palantir go on and service these obligations over time. Okay, so there you have it. 2 green flags for Palantir stock and 1 red flag for Palantir stock. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I really appreciate that you tuned in and spent your time watching this video and supporting my channel. There's a lot of things you could have been doing, but you chose to watch this video. I sincerely appreciate that. So thank you for watching, and I truly hope I'll see you again for another video. Thank you for watching.